General Tribal Council, Petitioner Frank Cornelius, direct BC to schedule GTC meeting within 20 days to dissolve Oneida 7 Generations Corporations, OSGC.
Mr. Chairman, the petition is presented to you as I do for all petitions so that the BC can acknowledge formal receipt and then direct the appropriate analysis to be completed.
Don White.
I mostly do anything I can not to have to be up here. But I think it's important to mention the wellness initiative that the Business Committee is conducting. Melinda was there, Greg was there, David was there. We're developing a wellness index, and that would be at the root of what we're seeing in terms of any non-productive behavior by on tribal members and community, too. So I would encourage everyone to take a look at that and have participated and have input into it, too, because if we can address this whole notion about wellness and associated behaviors towards it, that's going to move us really far into who we can be as Oneidas. So.
And I think that's what Brandon was talking about too. The wellness, it's identity.
And all that is in there. We develop categories in that too. We need to flesh them out more and look at programming associated with that too. But we can rally around the notion about this index and input into it what we think is critical to it, and make sure that all our services and all our departments in that are on board with making it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I would just add, since you're promoting your areas, that they also coordinate and that they also take a formal position to support Mandy Schneider in her efforts. Because I think it's voluntarily being done, but I think it needs to be done formally.
I've already met with her too, and yes. Said GSD is at her service in that too. I met with Brenda out of Patty's secretary's area too. So we're on board to do anything and everything that she needs in order to improve the situation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Patty, do you have a suggested motion regarding the petition?
Well, typically with petitions, the motion is to accept the petition and send it out for analysis and back here in 30 days.
Is that a motion?
No.
No? Someone want to make a motion like that or similar to
well,
that?
Well, I wanted to have a little discussion just about the question.
Joanne.
I would like to suggest that the motion identify a timeline consistent with a General Tribal Council meeting that's already scheduled regarding the same subject. Given the nature of this petition, I think we can meet those timelines. I would also suggest that the initial read of the petition identifies that it does not need a legislative impact. There is no legislative impact in the petition. Legal review is necessary. I'm not entirely certain a financial review is necessary, but I leave that to discretion of the Business Committee.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this petition?
I just have a question. Isn't this a redundant request, and shouldn't it just be joined with the other requests? Just.
I'm not understanding the. Should it be?
I'm sorry.
Should it go with the other petitions of a similar nature?
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation. Yes.
And at present, that issue is scheduled to be December 15th. Motion, Kathy.
I guess I'm wondering why this meeting is being out to December. When was the original petition submitted?
The reason is the General Tribal Council in the past has told the Business Committee, has made it their policy that General Tribal Council wants information when it considers these very important issues. So what we're trying to do is encounter a third party to evaluate the consequences of dissolving 7 generations. Right now, we are in the process of bringing on that third party to evaluate the consequences. So when we go to General Tribal Council, we'll know what the effects of dissolvement will be, and then General Tribal Council can make that informed decision that we believe they want. I don't think General Council wants to make a decision based on, without having all the facts.
Well, they don't like to base their decision on games. You know, there's some games that can be called within 60 days or whatever, 30, 45 days, and then this one takes months. This particular one takes months. So, I know I've had petitions that were never even called. That's why it's confusing as to the reasoning why you do these things.
Well, there is a process, and Seven Generations has a lot of information, not Seven Generations, but the consequences of dissolvement is a multi-million-dollar decision. We need to have the facts. And I think General Tribal Council has told us in the past that they want facts, they want information when they make these very important decisions. So we're trying for December 15th. We're trying very hard to accommodate that. And we'll put this we'll try and accommodate this other petition, which is similar, on that same agenda.
I don't look at it, I haven't seen it, I didn't sign it, you know, but for some reason, it just seems, I'm understanding that you treat whoever, whatever way. But I think this meeting could have been called for October, but for whatever reason, you put it on in December.
By October, in that discussion we had about a month ago, we could not get that information by October. And we will not submit to General Tribal Council a petition that has such far-reaching financial consequences without information.
Kathy, I need you to go to the microphone so you can talk in that because we're video recording this.
I read the Oneida Eye. I just started reading it recently, and I find it very interesting, the documentation and the backup and the things that they bring forth in there. I think they have valid things, but I don't think that they're taken seriously. Maybe none of you have read it. I don't know. But there's some very good information on there, and it's like downplaying.
The Oneida Eye is an independent website. They have a right to write what they write. If someone finds them to be slanderous, someone can sue them. That's up to individuals. We do not run the Oneida Eye. We are not responsible for what they say. They are free and independent. So, but this business committee represents the Oneida General Tribal Council and the Oneida Tribe, and we try and make decisions. And General Tribal Council, I believe, wants us to make decisions and bring them information so they can be informed. Nothing gets done without information.
Mr. Chairman.
You cannot make good informed decisions without the needed information, and that's what we're trying to get from a third party.
Mr. Chairman.
Frank Cornelius and then David. Oh, and then
Mr. Chairman?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frank.
Can I make a statement? I just submitted this second petition because it's taking so long. And I wanted to see how far off the business committee and our attorney is from the Constitution, Oneida Constitution, wherein the Constitution says the chairman or 50 members can call for a general tribal. It does not say the chairman should stop it or nor the business committee stop it. The Constitution specifically states 50 members can call for the general tribal, and 75 constitutes a quorum. Are we following our Oneida Constitution or not? This is what I'm trying to get through to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanne.
I think Mr. Cornelius is accurate in his analysis in regards to the Constitution. uh, 50 tribal members can sign a petition and request a General Tribal Council meeting be called. What's missing in the rest of the story is that the General Tribal Council has adopted rules and procedures to govern its own meetings. The first of that is the 10-day notice policy. And that policy identifies that in order to make informed decisions, it must receive the information at least 10 days, no less than 10 days prior to the meeting. And it identified processes, procedures for that. The next thing the General Tribal Council did was quite recently in 2008, and it said that in order to allow members to attend meetings, we're going to pay a stipend. And while it certainly doesn't designate how meetings are called, it affects how meetings are called. In order to accommodate 1,500 people, we can't hold that meeting in this room anymore. This room was available at the discretion of the Business Committee prior to 2008 to hold any number of General Tribal Council meetings. It's not as available, it's not as a useful forum anymore because it can't hold the number of people that are interested in attending those meetings. Recently, in 2011, 2012, the General Tribal Council adopted another motion, and it said that until such time as you can find a forum that holds all of us, that we have to accommodate those meetings as best we can within the reservation. We only have one facility that can accommodate those meetings. That facility is also a business of the tribe that's required to earn revenues, profits, and return them to the tribe. For every meeting we hold in that facility, we undermine its ability to earn those revenues. So we are trying to get in with its own scheduling activities. So if we had a facility that was at our sole discretion, it is possible that we could move these meetings quicker in the queue in front of the General Tribal Council. But that also suggests that we have an unlimited amount of funds to spend on this activity. To call a General Tribal Council meeting is a significant expense. The membership also, to this date, recognizes that expense associated with calling a GTC meeting, upwards of $200,000 per meeting. So scheduling that meeting, the time, the cost, the information, affects how and when they can be called together. The Business Committee has a responsibility to the membership to manage the funds and the activities of the tribe in order to utilize them to their best abilities. And that's how meetings are scheduled. Like subjects have been grouped together, brought forward to the membership with information at a time and a place and accommodate all of those requirements. So yes, under the Constitution, the chairman or 50 tribal members signing a petition can call a General Tribal Council meeting. When you look to all of the other things that the General Tribal Council has demanded when they're called to order, that means that the Business Committee, utilizing its discretion, utilizes the funds and locations as best they can to accommodate the needs and demands of the membership. Scheduling this particular meeting, December 15th, is, I believe, I may be incorrect on this, but I believe it's chronologically correct in light of the referendums and petitions that have come into the Secretary's office. Every petition is equally as important. Every referendum is equally as important. To hold one above another would indicate that there is some priority that the Business Committee has given to it. The priority the Business Committee gives to it is the information comes in a timely manner, the meeting room is available, the subject matters are related so the membership can have an informed discussion on it. I believe that the Business Committee has undertaken its responsibilities in a thorough manner in exercising its discretion to place these items on the December 15th, 17th, the December General Tribal Council meeting, and incorporating this petition on that meeting is within that authority.
Thank you. David?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make another statement. The Constitution also says nothing in this Constitution will be abridged by any other laws that you made up by the Business Committee or anybody else, because the General Tribal Council rules. They call for a meeting, you can call, make up any excuse you want to where we're going to meet, how much it's going to cost. That's all superfluous. The law states that they can call a meeting. It doesn't have to say you have to consider where we're going to hold it, how much money we got to spend for it. So you're in violation of the Constitution. We're on record, I hope. So I want to just point out that nothing can be abridged, and you set examples telling us when we're going to meet and how come we can and how much money we got. When we call for a meeting, I believe, according to the Constitution, under the powers, it also says you must hold that meeting, not stall it. That's what the resolution is calling for 20 days. 1 point. So excuses is not acceptable. Second point is, I'd ask the business committee to save costs. I have a referendum vote like an election. The police is there 24 hours a day. Establish it from 7 on Saturday to 7 Saturday night. Everybody can come in, cast a vote, and walk out. We don't have to have a general tribal. I can save you money that way. Consider that.
Thank you, Frank. David? Melinda?
I was just going to, I don't know what kind of motion we need, but maybe a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the petition and ask for the legal opinion to come back in the next BC meeting.
I'll second. Is that
Support
going to
it.
be a motion? Yeah.
Support.
Sorry. I said a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the petition and ask for a legal opinion to come back at the next business committee meeting.
We have a motion by Melinda Danforth, seconded by whom?
David.
David Jordan. Discussion?
Just one point I want to make. The GTC meeting law that's in the works right now to go before GTC, we're trying to put in writing the steps on how we're going to handle the petitions. And one of the rules that we're proposing is that when petitions are submitted, that they be assigned within 60 days to go before the GTC. So this situation that we're in right now, hopefully when we adopt that new rule, we won't be in it anymore. Or it'll be clarified.
We're exceeding 60 days. We're over 90 days, and nothing has happened yet. I'd like to point that out, being on record.
well,
And
not
to
90
make up
days.
rules after the petition goes in is ex post facto. You can't follow the rules you invent after there's something on the floor.
I'm not saying it's going to help this situation, but in the future, hopefully, because when we have those rules in place, we won't have to go through this again.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All
Yeah, I
those-
do.
Okay, David.
Yeah, and I understand where Frank is coming from, by no means am I trying to hold this up, but it's kind of our duty for myself is that if we go to a GTC meeting and if we're not prepared, it's going to come back and look like we're accepting stuff that's that's frivolous again, because they're gonna ask for another meeting to come back with an analysis after, and I understand that. That we don't need an analysis. I understand that part of it, but when we go to a GTC meeting, the last few GTC meetings that we had, they're saying, well, you're going to get your due diligence done ahead of time. Otherwise, they're going to make a motion at the meeting and say, we want analysis done to bring back to see what's going to happen. That could happen at that meeting, which is going to cost the tribe another $200,000+. And I think that's where we're kind of like thinking that we need to get this done before we go to a meeting. And I'm not trying to hold up at all, because I actually made a comment to have it in October. But they said that they need to get all this information prepared to have a good GTC meeting, to have all the facts.
Thank you. I would like to point out, though, however, the Constitution says the General Tribal 50 members calls for it. It doesn't say the business committee starts getting the facts. You had 7 years to get the facts. The stuff that's been on a paper now, start getting the facts. 30 days ago, 60 days ago, 90 days ago, we asked for a thing, and the attorney says, well, I haven't got a priority system. You didn't give it to me yet. The other comptroller says, well, wait till I get a legal opinion. Get the facts. The Constitution says you call a meeting according to 50 members that voted for a meeting according to the Oneida Constitution. Are you following the Constitution?
Yeah. Well, just for the record, so folks know, the meeting has been set for December 15 for the petition that Frank submitted on July, what was the date? I have it on the form. I think July 9 or so. So we have the meeting set. And right now what we're trying to do is just complete the analysis so that it's ready to go when we send this material to the printer in November.
Has a legal opinion been done yet?
Joanne?
90 days.
The
legal opinion is in the process of moving through my office for a final review by other by other attorneys in the office. It should be done hopefully by the end of this week and presented to the business committee.
Thank you. Don White?
Hi, I'm just taking a minute, just as a tribal member, to say to support you to have the most factual and effective meeting possible. So that's what I'm supporting and giving you the time to do that. And I understand what Frank is saying, the notion of calling a meeting, 15 members and that sort of thing too. The thing is to have a quality meeting with all the information that everybody needs to make the best decision. And I'm supporting you in doing that as a tribal member.
Council, are we ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Motion carries, one abstention. Tina Danforth.